Hello, and welcome to Joyful and Prudent. I'm a Christian wife and mother to 4 children, and today I want to share with you how we started living within our means. Times are tough right now for a lot of people, and a lot of financial advice will tell you to live within your means. But what exactly does that mean? It means living on less than you're bringing in. It's easy to tell you how living within your means is defined, but how about some practical tips? These are all things that we have implemented over the last 2 years to start living within our means so that we can pay off debt and grow our savings account. In just 2 years, we have over $6,000 in our savings, and we've paid off almost $4,000 in debt. By far the biggest thing that we've done to live within our means is embracing minimalism. We've actually been self-proclaimed minimalists for almost 8 years now. But by being extremely intentional with minimalism, by creating capsule wardrobes, reducing clutter and stress, and prioritizing quality over quantity, this has made a huge impact on our financial situation. The second biggest change that we made was reducing or changing our entertainment. Things like going to museums, concerts, or the movie theater is reserved for special occasions. We replaced them with simple, free, or inexpensive things to do, such as hiking as a family or creating traditions like Friday night pizza and movie nights or board game nights. Another way we've reduced or changed our entertainment is hosting versus going out. If people want to meet up, instead of going out somewhere and spending money doing something, we will instead invite them over for dinner. It's actually a lot more cozy and comfortable for everyone versus going out somewhere that might be loud or crowded or expensive. Another thing that we started doing was reducing our streaming services. You can pretty much find any show or movie that you want to watch now on any streaming service, and most of us have several. But by picking 1 or 2 streaming services at a time and watching everything that they have to offer and then rotating them, this has saved us a lot of money. Something else we started doing was taking smaller, closer, and simpler vacations. We used to frequent Disney World and other faraway destinations, and instead now we take smaller, closer, and simpler vacations. Things like going to national parks, or simply just going to a nearby lake or to a local amusement park. My kids have just as much fun dipping their toes in the lake water as they do in the Atlantic Ocean. We enjoy exploring and actually end up relaxing more on our smaller, closer, simpler, and less expensive vacations. Another thing we started doing was simplifying holidays, birthdays, and get-togethers. We actually stopped having big birthday parties a few years ago for our kids. Most of the time, we were spending a ton of money and time running around being frazzled and stressed, only to spend a couple of hours with the people that we invited and our kids being overwhelmed by the amount of gifts. We still have birthday parties. My children get to pick something that they want to do, like go to a museum or go to the arcade to play games. They get a homemade cake, they get to pick out their decorations, and they get to let us know what they want for their birthday, and they still get presents. My husband and I have enjoyed these smaller, simpler family birthday parties much more. We actually get to spend time with the birthday child instead of worrying about playing host. Something else we started doing was simplifying holidays. We started creating traditions such as serving our community or our neighbors during Christmas time, or cooking together and watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on Thanksgiving Day. We focused more on intentionality and time together than we do on gifts and extravagant meals. Another big one for us was fixing instead of replacing and saving up for replacements. So if something breaks and we can do without, we will save up for a replacement. However, if we need something replaced fairly quickly, we will usually try to fix it instead of just replacing it altogether. For instance, our dishwasher recently started acting up. It was in a house that we had recently purchased, and it was several years old. We could have easily just gone out to Lowe's and bought a brand new dishwasher for a few $100s, but instead we were able to replace the part for much cheaper. And actually, a lot of people commended us for this because most new dishwashers actually don't work as well as make and model and year that our old one did. It's working really well now, and we're really glad that we saved money in the long run. Another big way that we live within our means is saving on groceries and eating out. We pretty much only eat out now for special occasions or when we really need to, like when we're traveling to friends and family several hours away. Generally, if we have errands to run or anything like that, we will try to eat before we leave or even pack snacks to get us through until we get home. No more just random running through the drive-thru or eating out for no reason. We also started meal planning fully, and by this I mean we've been meal planning for several years. However, I would always leave a day for leftovers or eating out, and what would happen? We would usually just eat out. Even just eating out once a week was costing us about $75 a month. Now that I meal plan fully, we spend between $5 to $10 for a meal for all of us, instead of about $20 a week. We also started reducing meat. Since the rising cost of groceries, we've started reducing our meat consumption. I'm not saying that you have to be vegan, although I know a lot of people do that. However, we try to reduce meat to a few days a week and try to have the other meals meatless. Or we will try to spread out meat. If a recipe calls for 2 pounds of meat, we will usually just try to use 1. Another thing we do is to shop our pantry. This means that when we make our grocery list, we either try to use up ingredients that we already have and try to make as many meals from those as we can, or if there's a certain meal that we're really craving, we will see how many of those ingredients that we have so that we don't have to buy more than we need. I try to make as much as I can from scratch as well. I know this is easier said than done for those of you who work full-time. However, just by making a few meals from scratch a week versus buying convenience foods is going to save a lot of money. We also started simplifying meals. So instead of using big recipes that use a ton of ingredients, we try to keep the ingredient list to about 5 ingredients or so. We also try to use the same ingredients, the same types of spices, the same types of meats, vegetables, etc. I know it can sound kind of boring, but I promise, we have tons of variety in our meals. And another fun one that we've started doing to live within our means is recreating restaurant favorites. My family really enjoys when we make our own Chick-fil-A sandwiches and get some waffle fries. And it's about half the cost of our family eating out at Chick-fil-A. Something else that we started recently doing was removing unnecessary expenses. Some examples of this are taking your cards off Easy Pay. If you have to walk through the entire house to be able to pay for something, you may reconsider. We also deleted Amazon Prime. We found that we were doing much more impulse shopping than if we just didn't have Prime at all. Something else that a lot of financial experts say is no more window shopping. And a lot of people think, I don't really go window shopping. But if you're going to Target just to browse or hopping on Amazon just to see what's new on there, that would be defined as window shopping. These are both things that I used to do. I had thousands and thousands of items on my Amazon wish list, and let's be honest, I wasn't going to buy 90% of those things, but how many of those things did I buy on impulse just because I saw them? I stopped window shopping. I actually took those apps off my phone. So if I ever actually need something, I actually have to fire up my desktop, go down to the office, and get on the computer if I need to order something. Something else that we stopped doing was no more fancy photo sessions. As a former professional photographer, this one stung a little. However, I noticed myself spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every year or two on fancy photo sessions, especially since we take so many on our phone. We try to do a family photo session every year. I will simply just set up my tripod and my camera and take pictures. I know I have the gear to make our pictures look good and the experience to edit them professionally, but if you don't, there are so many apps and things like that now where it's easier to do than ever. We also stopped letting convenience run our bank account. We don't use things like DoorDash anymore, and we only use grocery pickup if it's free. We were paying a lot of money for convenience foods, convenience premiums, and we just did not have the bank account for those things. And finally, one that I don't think a lot of people talk about or think about very much is removing distractions and replace them with motivation. This could be anything from social media to friends to different influences. If you are constantly bombarded with friends who are spending well over their means, or following people on social media who are constantly posting the latest and greatest new thing that they bought, you are going to be more prone to want to spend money too. So consider limiting your social media or do without following certain people, even just for a short period of time. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not. I plan to do some more in-depth videos on each of these topics. Let me know down in the comments ways that you live within your means or ways that you really struggle to live within your means. I hope to grow a small little community here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.